Good morning, students. This is his class for 8th standard online English class. This lesson we were learning yesterday, a lesson for Nakul. Here we have found that there were two boys, two students, two friends, Nakul and Akash. They were staying in boarding school. They were studying in 6th standard class, and the qualities, what kind of a nature they had in them, so different in their qualities. Whereas we have seen yesterday, always we found negative thinking from by Nakul, and always Akash's attitude was in the positive way. So same thing, the continuation of the lesson. The yesterday we were studying that they have completed their exams. After that they had their annual gathering day, and then there was a picnic there. They have been to the picnic there. We found that the way how Nakul was thinking in a negative way, that he was saying that today it may rain, and the picnic what they wanted to enjoy may it was not possible for them to enjoy. Whereas in the same way, Akash said that it won't happen in such a way that the clouds, the sky may be clear, again the sun may come out, and the day may go very in the smooth and a happy time they can spend there. The way how he shown the positiveness, the positive attitude, always thinking in a right way, that is what the difference was there in the way of thinking by Nakul and Akash here. And in the same way, when he asked, Akash asked that why always Nakul thinks the dark side. The dark side means always thinking in a negative way. Always he found him speaking or talking, or the way he was behaving in a very negative way. That is what he asked. The period, the time itself, he felt somewhat annoyed, and he left uh, him alone there, and he joined his friends in the picnic spot there. And after few minutes, when he heard the two teachers, Mr. Varghese and the games teacher, talking about Akash, and the way they were admiring him, they praising him about his the way of his positive attitude, positiveness, that is what Nakul was hearing everything. And slow by slow, somewhat he started thinking about Akash, and being a lame boy and being a handicapped boy, and his way of always thinking about the positive side, always thinking about the correct way. And that is what being watched by or listened by Nakul, and he started thinking about Akash. The same dialogues or the same conversation was still continued by the two teachers, and somewhere Nakul is standing near closer to them, and he is listening all the words what the teachers are speaking. So let's continue today's lesson with the 33 paragraph here. So now they are in the picnic spot. The teachers are talking about Akash here. We could certainly do with more boys like Akash, Mr. Varghese remarked. His cheerfulness in the face of difficulties is proving to be a good example to others. I heard from the headmaster that Akash was keen on joining the school as a boarder, though his parents were reluctant to expose their only son to the rough and tumble of a boarding school life. See, listen, they are still talking, they are admiring, they are praising that. When we found Akash in such a way, always in a good spirit, in a encouraging, motivating everybody, and we, if others also follow him, it looks so good, and it feels so happy that being a teacher, that is what the two teachers are saying. And his cheerfulness in the face difficulties is proving to be a good example. He can be a good example, and all the students should learn from him, all the students should follow him, the way how he behaves, being a lame boy, being a handicapped boy, always he is in a good spirit. That is what the other students also follow him. He is a role model to them, they have to follow him. That is what the teachers are showing. And Akash was keen on joining this school as a boarder. They heard from the headmaster that always he was keen on joining the boarding school, but whereas his parents were not ready to make him to be admitted in the joining school, because as we have found, there is so much difference in staying at home and in the hostel. Being a lame and a handicapped boy, that it was not possible for Akash to be well treated as been treated at home. That is what his parents was not ready to send him to the boarding school, but he was very much interested to join the boarding school, and he has joined now. He is in the boarding school, and we found that there is a lot of a difference there in the hostel or the boarding school. So that is what his parents were not ready, that is what is given there. And only son, he was an only son to his parents, a rough and a tumble of a boarding school. So it means there are a lot of some difficulties are there what we have to face our own, whereas in at home we find so many our parents, relatives and sisters, youngsters, elders, everybody, they will be always there to our side, but whereas we find here none than ourselves. So that is what his parents were not ready for sending him there to the boarding school. But whereas now he is in the boarding school, he got Nakul as his friend, as his roommate. These are all the words were speaking by the two teachers, and somewhere hiding in the bushes there behind the rock, Nakul is listening all these things. And what he thinks now, Nakul looked thoughtful when he heard all this. He recalled the numerous times when Akash had gone out of his way to help him, though he could have easily looked the other way. Times when he, Nakul, had caught a fleeting glimpse of pain in Akash's eyes, when his leg hurt and he thought that no one was watching him. He recalling those days, flashbacks, some few days back when Akash had joined and he has become his friend. He's remembering those moments, those days, and he's listening to the teachers, what the teachers are talking. Somewhere he always found Akash consoling him, motivating him, guiding him, and giving him a good decisions, and always giving him the correct opinion. And somewhere he's also recalling the days when he one day when he was hurt, the boy who is a lame and all the handicapped boy, he was hurt. And when he hurt, he had a drops of when he heard that no one, and there was a pain, what the pain he found in his eyes. But Akash thought that nobody is watching him, but whereas Nakul saw this, and immediately he took up, because he is a very independent boy. He somewhere controlled his pain, and again the same cheerfulness, the same spirit was there within him. That is what the same moment Nakul had found, that today when he has heard the teacher speaking, he is recalling those days when he saw the Akash and the way he overcome such pains and such difficulties. Today he is with him in each and every moment. He is supporting, his guidance, his inspiration, which is Nakul a lot. That is what he is recalling those days, and he is recalling the teachers what the speaking about Akash, and what his thinking is now. Nakul admitted to himself that Akash's cheerful, positive outlook was like a bracing tonic which influenced his own way of thinking. He also admitted that his constant grumbling must be irritating to someone who liked to look at the bright side of a things. Also, he is remembering the days when he, Nakul, always speaking, talking, and behaving in a very negative way. And always he found Akash always consoling him, positive way, thinking. That is what, and he is also thinking that his the way how he is grumbling, the way how he behaves may be irritating to someone. He might have irritated to somebody also, isn't that? That is what he is thinking. I have irritated, I have made so many of my friends feel so bad. He is now sitting and thinking about himself, and this what he is telling about Akash is his cheerful, positive outlook was like a bracing tonic. That is what it is. That is what, if somebody is hurt or somebody felt bad, he is one who is working like as a bracing tonic here. That is what he is thinking, and he is remembering those days, and he is feeling somewhat bad about himself, usually himself. That is because of his nature, because of his negative attitude. Many of them may be irritated by him. That is what he is looking, and always he has seen Akash looking at a very bright side of the things, whereas always we have found Nakul thinking at the dark side of the things. This is a comparison what we can find in Nakul and Akash. Okay, So what you do is whenever you read this lesson, so note down the things, the negative words, the negative adjectives, negative verbs, what given about the Nakul one side, and you write down the Akash's qualities and what the way he was, and his positive way of thinking, his what the adjectives are given regarding Akash here, and the verbs what described here about Akash. You note down and make the comparison, distinguish the nature of Nakula and Akash. Okay. So here Akash is sitting quiet and he is remembering all those, and he is thinking about Akash. And the next day, Nakul saw Akash among the spectators at the football match between class 7 and 8. The very next day, after the completion of after they have returned from the picnic, next day there was a football match. They're all gathered in the playground. There was a match between class 7 and class 8. Among all the spectators, Akash was also there. He was sitting there among those spectators, and he was cheering the players there, and come on Rahul, get the ball and pass it on to Deepak, who is nearer the goal. Akash yelled encouragingly. He is encouraging, he is screaming, he is yelling. So what he is calling the player Rahul, and is asking to pass the ball to the Deepak, who is very nearer to the goal, so that he can put the ball in the goal. He is cheering those players also. This scene was now seen by the Nakul. What the Nakul will do is he will come near to Akash. I am sorry for leaving you in a huff yesterday. Nakul touched Akash arm. So Nakul came near to Akash, he sat next to him and he touched his arm, and he is asking sorry for him that he left him yesterday during the picnic. There he left Akash, I am sorry for leaving you in a huff yesterday. So I have left you in a very angry or annoyed way yesterday. So please, I am sorry for what I did yesterday. And he touched Akash's arm also. He was sitting next to Akash, and he is asking sorry for him. And what Akash will say is, it's okay, friends again. Akash smiled, as usual, always smiling. So he said that it is okay, Nakul. It happens in the friends. That is what he said, and we will be. Let's once again we will be as usual friends. That is what the positiveness we find here again, once again in the Akashya. So I admire you despite your handicap. You're always cheerful. Doesn't it hurt that you can't join in the games? Nakul asked. So Nakul was very much interested how he feels when he sees players playing the football, or he sees some students who are actively participating in all the activities, but whereas he is a handicapped boy. That is what he is asking here. I admire you, I respect you, I praise you, I admire you, and despite your handicap you're always cheerful. I have found you in Kalu Kuntagidruno Ninirthi, always I have found you as a cheerful. But doesn't it hurt you that you can't join the games? ನಿನಗೆ ದುಃಖ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ನೋವಾಗಲ್ಲ, because you can't play like as we play, as we jump, as we play, as we hop. That is what. Why don't you hurt? Doesn't it hurt you? Nakul is asking to Akash. Now what Akash will reply is, it did hurt at first, Akash confessed, and I was very touchy about it too, till my grandma told me. Yes, it hurts me also, because even I am also a human being. It hurts me also. Earlier, when I was very young, in the starting period, even I was also very felt bad. It touches me also. It felt so bad, it touches my heart also. But whereas one day my grandmother has said me, and she consoled me in such a way that no one wants to weep with you. If you always sad, lonely you will never be. If you are brave and glad, search the clouds, you are sure to see a gleam of a light will follow. Today, though, is grim and grey. Remember these words. So, these words are given in italics way. So, these words are spoken by Akash's grandmother. The way she consoled him, the way she showed him the cheerfulness, the way of a spirit, how to be confident, independent in the coming days, in the coming life. That is what she said is, no one wants to weep with you if you're always sad. ದಿನ ಅಳೋರಿಗೆ ಯಾರು ಸಮಾಧಾನ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, isn't that? So ನೀನ್ ದಿನ ಅಳ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ no one wants to weep with you, ಯಾರು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So be cheerful. Okay, be bold, be confident, be courageous. Lonely you will never be if you are brave and glad. If you are brave, if you are glad, if you are happy, then everyone will come with you. If you're always sad, no one will come with you. Isn't that? That is what his grandmother is telling here. Search the clouds, you are sure to see a gleam of a light will follow. So always find the way of a light, the positiveness, the cheerfulness. That is what always you should find in your life. Don't be dull. Don't look at the dark side of the things. Think positive and search for the clouds. That is what she is saying is, and somewhere you will find the light, the courage, the hope, the spirit. So always be cheerful. And though today is grim and grey, remember there is tomorrow. ಇವತ್ತು ನಿನ್ನ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕತ್ಲಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಷ್ಟ ದುಃಖ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ ಡೋಂಟ್ be look at just today. Feel or see, look at the days, coming days. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow, so many days are there. So you have to live with a happy and courageous and cheerfulness. That is what his grandmother has said that. Since then Akash has changed his attitude, the way he was there, the way always in a grievance, always in a bad mood, he has changed totally himself. Now always we found him in a cheerful way. Isn't that okay? I realized then I couldn't go through life with a chip on my shoulder, that others in the world are worse off than me. So I decided to spread cheer in my own way, Akash explained. So what Akash is saying that since then when my grandmother has said me these words, ಅವತ್ತಿಂದ ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತಿನವರೆಗೂ always have make others happy. I am also happy. I don't want to be in a bad mood, bad, always thinking in a negative way. That is what he is saying, that I realized then I couldn't go through life with this ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಜೀವನ ಮುಂದುವರಿಯಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವತ್ತಿಂದ ನಾನು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೆ that others in the world are worse off than me. So many people are there who are worse than me. ನನಗಿಂತೂ worst ಅವ್ರ ಜೀವನ ಇದೆ. Isn't that? ನಂದೇ ಬಹಳ ದುಃಖ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಲ್ಲ. We find so many people whose life are worse than me. So decided to spread cheer in my own way, in my own style, in my own way. I thought of spreading cheer in all of those who are very nearer to me, who are close to me, and even I also follow. I also move in the same way. Even I also always will be in a cheerful, in a positive thinking, always finding myself in a bright side of the things. I also think in the bright side of the things. That is what Akash is saying here. So I decided to spread the cheer in my own way. That is what he was doing. That is what the lesson was learned by Nakul from Akash here. So this is a lesson what Akash has taught to Nakul here. Always should be in a cheerful way, in a good way, should not be in a very bad, always thinking in a dark side. That is what also, always we should be thinking in a positive way. That leads, that gives us a success in our life. That is what we have found in our pre-reading. That is what the spirit in ourselves makes us to lead a successful life. This is the lesson. What we have learned is a lesson for a Nakul. Okay, this is the end of the story. In the next class, we will have the next lesson. Okay, students, thank you very much.